Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and especially special greeting to Sheikh Ibrahim and our brother.
Can you keep?
So I have two questions actually, each directed to one is to our Maulana Sheikh Ibrahim, and another is to Mr. Kenneth. Oh, my name is Ahmad Razali from Shahlan. I have been following Sheikh Ibrahim for the last 20 over years. I read his book, Jerusalem from the Quran, and I must admit that that book changed my life. And I'm very comfortable with the scholarship of Sheikh Ibrahim Hussein, which he, first of all, he always say that do not take his opinion unless you are convinced. And only when you are convinced, you will take his opinion. And another reason why I'm very comfortable with Sheikh Ibrahim Hussein is that because to me, it takes a great scholar to explain a complex idea to a very simplistic form. And I guess the topic of Dajjal is a very, very heavy subject, and not everyone can explain this topic. And I'm very happy that Sheikh Ibrahim Hussein has stepped up to introduce Islamic eschatology and also to guide us who are very ignorant of this subject. So coming back to my question, Sheikh, the second victory for Rome, is it connected to the conquest of Constantinople? That is my first question. And to Mr. Kenneth, as a military person who spoke with the US Marine, where do you think Israel will attack next? Is it Iraq, Turkey, or Egypt? I just would like to hear your opinion. Thank you very much.
Okay. One question for me, one for St. Kim. And my question is, when will the second victory of Rome take place? Would it be at the conquest of Constantinople? Neither the Quran nor the Hadith provide us with an answer. So all that we can do is to engage in guesswork. Guesswork. I cannot find any link between a Muslim army conquering Constantinople and the second victory of Rome. A Muslim army conquering Constantinople takes place before the Antichrist or Al-Masih al-Dajjal would appear in human form. So it takes place while still we are in Pax Judaica. In fact, we can already see the signs that Pax Judaica is beginning now. We're seeing the sign. And the implication of the conquest of Constantinople, I hope that my learned brother Dr. Oldsley would agree with me. The implication of a Muslim army conquering Constantinople is that, number one, the Christian army does not have to do it. No. So, goodbye to Christian eschatology on that subject. You will not do it, we will do it. Number two, my view, and I can be wrong when I give my view, the implication of a Muslim army conquering Constantinople is, number one, most important of all, is that we can then return Hagia Sophia to the Orthodox Christian world, and that would cement the friendship and alliance between this ummah or community which follows this prophet, Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, and that ummah or community of believers which follows the Messiah, Nabi Isa alayhi salam. These two communities come together in a strategic alliance in end time, which is goodbye for Israel. The second alliance, of course, is already here. It's the alliance between China and Russia, which has already been established. The second victory of Rome does not appear to me to be connected in any way with the conquest of Constantinople. Shall I answer the next question? Okay, okay. Okay, go ahead, Ken.
In terms of who they will attack, Israel will attack next.
Okay.
I wouldn't say that I could predict exactly who they're going to attack in what order, but everything that falls within Greater Israel is going to be attacked or occupied as part of their plans. So from the River Nile to the River Euphrates, on into Saudi Arabia, they have boasted about this too. I've seen some stuff talking about taking Mecca and Medina, although I don't have any love for the Saudi regime at all. I certainly don't think it would be acceptable for Muslims to allow the Jewish state of Israel to take over Mecca and Medina. I'm sure as a Christian I wouldn't find that acceptable. So who are they going to attack next? I mean, Egypt is compliant, so there would be no priority there. It's just territory that they can take pretty much at any time. Syria, as we now see, is not really going to be able to mount any kind of resistance at all. And now, isn't it funny, we see the terrorist of yesterday is now the rebranded. There's a definite special kind of stupidity within Western so-called society. Lebanon, obviously, while they pummeled it, it still does have resistance. Turkey, I've seen working. Turkey, that ship that I was on, the Mavi Marmara, it's funny, like you would have thought I'd be a hero in Turkey, given what I did. I was the only non-Muslim who was asked to defend, would I like to defend the ship? So here I am, a non-Muslim white guy who defended the ship and disarmed 2 out of 3 Israeli commandos. And Turkey has, I don't trust Turkey at all. And I see they've been having joint operations with Israel all this time, while Erdogan says pretty words. He's doing business with them on a multitude of levels, including military training. So again, I don't really see a need for Israel to go there yet. But the devil doesn't return favor. I mean, the moment you become surplus to requirements, they will attack anyone and everyone. But it's definitely Greater Israel, so it'll fall in that auspice, who they're going to attack.
Okay. Someone from France, a brother or a sister? A brother, yeah. The question is both to me and to Ken. And he sees a mysterious alliance of Western countries with Israel, and he wants to know if this is a part of Israel's master plan? The answer is located in Islamic eschatology. Islamic eschatology tells us that there was a city which Allah destroyed. He expelled the people of the city and then placed a ban on them that they could never return to reclaim that town or city. Never. Tabule. Until Gog and Magog are released and they spread out all over the world. Then Gog and Magog will cause these people to be brought back to that town or city to reclaim it as their own. This is Surah Al-Anbiya of the Quran. 25 years ago or more, I argued that that town or city is Jerusalem. I used the hadith that our Prophet said, Allah's blessing be upon him, that there was a town or city connected with Gog and Magog, and it was Jerusalem, and that Allah will destroy Gog and Magog in Jerusalem. And so, since the Jews have now been brought back to Jerusalem to reclaim it as their own, who brought them back? I am speaking in simple English, so it should not be difficult to understand. Who brought the Jews back to Jerusalem after 2,000 years, even before Dr. Mahathir was born? Answer: it was modern Western civilization which brought the Jews back to Jerusalem. Nobody can differ with me, not even Amno. So I have come to the conclusion, sensibly so, intelligently so, that Gog and Magog are those who control power in the modern Western world. But I have remained a voice crying in the wilderness, because there is no sheikh, no alim who agrees with me. What can I do with the people who have lost the capacity to think? My language is harsh, but I don't ask for an excuse for that. No. And so it is nothing mysterious that in France, in Germany, in the United States, in Canada, and even in Israel's client state of Singapore, you will see this mysterious alliance of the people living there who control power and the Jewish state of Israel. Next question. In today's world, what practical advice would you give to Muslims so they can live in accordance with the purpose for which they were created? Answer: you cannot do that if you shut your mind and you allow others to think for you. That your government must think for you. Because if others think for you, others will decide for you, and you will be no more than sheep and cattle and goats and camels. In order for you to succeed, you must recover freedom. And you cannot be free today unless you have courage. King has courage. That's why I love him so much. You must have the courage to be free. And then you must turn to the Quran, not to your government, but to the Quran. Not to your political party, but to the Quran. Not to some sheikh or Maulana, but to the Quran. For guidance. But the Quran will not guide you. Never. Unless and until you show respect for the Quran. And the first step of showing respect for the Quran, the first step is to learn to recite the Quran in Arabic. The Quran is not in Bahasa Malaya. No. Allah did not send it down in Bahasa. Quran came down in Arabic. So you have to learn the Arabic language to be able to recite the Quran in Arabic. And you must recite the Quran every day. If you're not reciting the Quran every day, don't bother to come to my lectures. Stay away from me. Stay away from me. I don't need you. Recite the Quran every day. Teach your children to recite the Quran every day. No, more children must learn English. Huh? Is that Malaysia today? Malaysia? No, Lord, teach your children to recite the Quran in Arabic. Recite one juz of the Quran every day. And complete the khatam, the Quran, every month. If you're doing that, you can be my student. Otherwise, don't say you are my student. This is the first road to success. Okay, can take one question now? Ken? For me?
Yeah.
Which one for Ken? This one.
Just to refer back to this question
Some questions addressed to you.
from the Frenchman or woman. Zionist people, there are more laws coming out to protect the Jews and punish anti-Semitism. Irony. Yeah, we see this. We saw Donald Trump say some really amazing things, like if you don't love Israel, we're coming after you, effectively, which is nuts. Like, once again, it's exposing, is this America or is this Israel? Why? How are we so fixated on this country when we clearly have problems, big problems in America? Yes, it is part of their plan. You know what the first law under the Soviet Union was? Does anybody know? The first law under the Soviet Union, communism, created by Jews, was anti-Semitism. Guess what the punishment was? Death. So this is where they intend to take it. When they have the power that they wish to have, which I don't believe they'll have it either, but nonetheless, if they ever did get there, I'm gone, that's for sure. I mean, I'm still surprised I'm here to this day, but the first law of the Soviet Union was anti-Semitism, and it was punishable by death. So yes, it's a step tiptoe towards this right now, and they are using law, quote unquote, to curtail free speech. I was just arrested and under investigation in the United Kingdom. In fact, I would have been in Malaysia sooner, except for they arrested me and were investigating me, and I didn't back down. I just continued saying and doing what I do. They had to let up on it. But the bottom line is, there are other people now facing prosecution in the United Kingdom under the same laws of hate speech, is what they call it, which is all about protecting the Jews and not allowing the truth to be told about what the Jewish state is doing, and the criminality of our own governments who are supporting the criminal state of Israel. So yes, they do intend, those laws will increase, get more draconian, and then when they have their way, if they ever have their way, then they'll just execute you.
Okay.
If you speak truth.
I forgot to mention about our recitation of the Quran every day, that you have to recite the correct juz. If you're not reciting the correct juz, you won't get the result. So do please read my book, The Quran and the Moon. The Quran and the Moon will explain to you how to recite the Quran. It's outside, inshallah. This question is, what is our role as that part of the Ummah which understands the master plan? Answer. The master plan of Israel is being pursued with relentless lies and oppression. Lies and oppression is defined as something munkar, something evil. And this is what our Prophet said. When you see something which is evil, change it with your hand. And Ken, of course, will go to Gaza to change it with his hand. But if you don't have the power to change it with your hand, he said, change it with your tongue. And if you don't have the courage to change it with your tongue, why? Oh, I might lose my job. Then he said, change it with your heart. Despise it in your heart. But that is the weakest form of faith. So the answer to the question is, if you have the power, when you understand the master plan, to change it with your hand, then do that. But if you don't have the power to do so, then do what I am doing. Change it with your tongue. Next question. If we use a digital payment system, which is based on netting system by gold, would that be halal? When money is used as a medium of exchange, whether it be for buying or selling, if the money has intrinsic value, or if a system of money is used which is digital, but it can be redeemed instantly or on demand for real halal money, it would be halal. But I don't think you understand me. I don't think you understand me. And if I repeat it several times, you still won't understand. If money is used as a medium of exchange for buying or for selling, and provided that if you use a digital system of money, the digital money can be instantly redeemed, or redeemed on demand for real money, gold and silver, it would be halal. But if it is cannot, then it will be haram. I don't think any digital system of money anywhere on the face of the earth would give you that assurance that it will always be redeemed for gold. No, you will be ripped off. Two more questions. What should I do?
I have one question from the floor.
Right, okay. Let me go. Let Ken answer the question. I'll take you go to the bathroom and come back.
Okay. I think,
Should I
can answer.
answer this one?
Yeah, which way is the bathroom?
So, is Israel's master plan
Yeah, okay.
inevitable?
Okay, yeah.
If so, how should Muslims view the
Where?
loss of lives and destruction in order
Okay.
to not lose
This
faith?
is- Okay.
Also, what type of preparations or resistance would be best?
Okay.
So,
Yeah, okay. All right.
losing
Thank you.
faith, I can imagine, especially those that don't have a strong faith, will be a bit challenged. And this has caught a hold of a lot of people in the West. If there's a God, why does he allow this? Why does he allow that? So on and so forth. My answer to that has always been, and why I love God so much, free will. I absolutely believe that we have been given free will. I do not believe that God is some sort of Shakespearean playmaker. These things that we're experiencing are of our own choosing to one degree or another, whether it's in the way that we become complicit or submissive. I know this, like why I've been speaking out against my birth nation for decades now. I feel it's my duty to atone. I have been party and part of a system that has committed horrendous crimes, and therefore, till the last of my days, I will atone. I will speak and I will fight against it. And this is, for me, the path that I've chosen, and accepting whatever cost comes with that. I don't believe it's inevitable that Israel's master plan will come to fruition at all. In fact, I believe Israel will be done within a year or two. But we'll see. We'll see. There is a growing consciousness unlike anything we've ever seen, even in the aftermath of 9/11, where there's some real opportunity to understand how we're being lied to. There was a mind control that was so pervasive that it got people to believe the fairy story that is 9/11. But this has been different. This one has been different. And it really has caused an awakening that is unprecedented, really, and a changing of perspectives. Then that's why I call it the positive side of genocide. There's so much we must take from this. So getting back to the question, what can we do? For me, the most powerful weapon of all is the sword of truth. And Jesus said, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. I believe, as much as I can indulge in violence, I have no interest in violence, none. And if I have my way, if I do anything violent, I might get into a Muay Thai ring and fight in a fair fight with a referee and whatnot, but not in the street and not some bloody war. I believe anything that we can do to spread the truth, to develop our own understanding of truth, and to share that knowledge and understanding in a respectful way is part of the duty that we must pay. But as the Sheikh said just a few moments ago, there's different levels to this game. For the warrior, well, a warrior just has to accept the fact, I quote Malcolm X regularly. He was asked, what is the price for freedom? His answer was very direct. The price for freedom is death, and if you aren't willing to pay that price, then don't use that word in your vocabulary. I agree. If you're not willing to die, you're not a warrior. That's all there is to it. It doesn't mean that you're lesser. It just means that warriors are a special breed, especially when they're fighting in the sight of God. And actually, on that note, let me give credit and respect to Hamas for all the things that we were told about October 7th and whatnot. The proof of the fact that they respected God's law in terms of war is absolute. There was no raping. There was, to the contrary, they kept families together. They helped cover the women that in Israel would be wearing bikinis and whatnot. They treated them with respect. There's no evidence at all of any children or anything being killed. All the evidence points to Israel doing that. So Hamas, which Islamic resistance, love and respect to them. Love and respect to them. I cannot say that about my birth nation. We get raped and murdered and killed, massacre after massacre. Never mind the bombs that we drop and all this kind of stuff. So love and respect to Hamas for doing that. And I keep in mind, I've met both the leaders of Hamas and I've also met the guys on the ground. I've met the administrators, who run the hospitals and the educational system. So it's not like they're all fighters, and I'm sure you probably know that. But war will make you crazy. And you become a bit of a psycho because the nature of what you have to do, you're killing. You've got to kill or be killed. But they managed to carry themselves in a way that I think does Islam proud, really. And only a few people like me can say that kind of stuff, like you're going to get in trouble, you say that in England or whatever, and I do, but truth is truth. And the way they carried themselves was more honorable than what my birth nation has done, that's for sure. Everything right there.
Mr. Keith, there's a question direct from.
Since we're waiting for the other questions, I'll just ask you one question. It's an honor to meet you in person. I've been following the videos. Actually, it's for both, but particularly for Ken. Since Sheikh Imran is more well known among Muslims who speaks about all this, you, however, speak on shows that also involve non-Muslims around the world watching. I'm generally aware the whole agenda they're playing and owning the monetary system for the last 111 years is a primary recipe that has allowed them to commit all that they are committing right now. I myself am trying to increase awareness among my friends, colleagues, and it has been a challenge, and also on social media. I believe the first step in combating this is awareness of the public. So my question is, I am no one compared to you. I hope this is not a personal question, but how do you handle the challenges from the public? Now that we know your stand promoting this publicly, and have you experienced any threats? How do you survive traveling, etc.? And I know it takes a lot of courage, and I admire that. What can you advise us on trying to promote this awareness without being afraid? Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you, brother. Thank you. As I said earlier, I don't like bullies, and I do love a challenge. I mean, all my life I've always challenged myself. And I have said this many times, and it's been the truth for me. If it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger. So when you continuously challenge yourself, comfort is the real enemy. You get comfortable, now you start getting willfully ignorant, and you're happy to turn a blind eye to genocide over there because you're really comfortable. But when you're uncomfortable, now you have a clarity. Never more so than in a fight. If you get into a fight with somebody, you're not bored, that's for sure. And while you may, the consequences of of that as an example. But you could find it another way. You could do a debate, or interviews as I've done, whatnot. I love a challenge, but there's no question at all, God has gifted me on a multitude of levels. Not everybody, even if you tried everything you could to speak like I can speak, good luck. Only so many of us have this ability. And it's something God gave me. God gave me the tools that I need to do what I'm here to do. And fearlessness is one of those things. Like, I'm not going to back down. In fact, if you try and intimidate me, I'm going to come that much harder. Literally. And I also know that I have an eternal soul in here, and I put things in perspective. This, the physical life, the body, this is precious, no doubt about it. But it's nothing compared to the soul. It's nothing. It's a blink of an eye, is all it is. Make the most of it. Quality, not quantity. The fact that I've made it to 55 years is, wow, all praise to God for that. I would encourage people to put yourself in uncomfortable positions. You can go to a gym and work out. You could take up a martial art and get competitive there. There's a multitude of things that you could do which are going to be uncomfortable, but if you stick with it and you keep pressing forward, you're going to develop strength, discipline, and if you are so blessed, then you can reach the point where I'm ready to, whatever it is I got to face, I'm ready. I'm ready. But it comes from putting yourself in a place of discomfort. So as seemingly counterintuitive as that is, discomfort's the real ally. Thank you, brother.
Okay, I have only two more questions.
One from
Oh, three. Three more. The first question pertains to whether it is permissible to impose a trade boycott on Israel. What does the religion which has come from Allah say? And I want to share with you the amazing news that BRICS had a summit conference in Kazan 1 month ago, and the leaders of BRICS showed more understanding of truth in the Quran than this ummah. Yes. The BRICS Summit Conference ended with a declaration condemning economic sanctions, condemning the use of trade as a weapon of war. And BRICS was correct. And that is the Quran and that is the Sunnah. Mine has been, as usual, a voice crying in the wilderness for all these years, saying, whatever be the benefit that you believe you may be pursuing with an economic boycott of Israel, remember the benefit that you seem to be getting is less than the harm that you're doing. Yes, because our view from the Quran and Sunnah is that trade must not be used as a weapon of war. And that is what BRICS has just declared in the summit conference in Kazan 1 month ago. And now I can smile because for 25 years I have been a voice crying in the wilderness. Number two, I agree with you in your conclusion that Gog and Magog are those who control power in modern Western civilization. Why has Allah given them two names instead of one? Why are they Gog and Magog instead of one name? And the answer is that Allah has done this so you can look at their footprints and recognize. You can look at their footprints and recognize them. That instead of one pair of footprints, there are two. For example, all of mankind by now should have agreed on a system of weight and measures and distance and temperature, all. But now we have a centigrade system, which most have accepted. And in Kuala Lumpur, you normally have 28, 29, 30, 31 degrees. But no, said the United States. They said, no, we use something called Fahrenheit. So they have 60 and 70 and 80 degrees. Instead of one pair of footprints, two, where there should be one. In Malaysia, you drive on the left side of the road. And in Britain, on the left side of the road. So when Ken gets his car, no problem for him to drive in Malaysia. But I was driving from Britain to France to Italy, to Switzerland. And once I crossed with the ferry and I reached in France, I saw this huge lorry driving, coming towards me on the wrong side of the road. I said, what's wrong with him? He's sleeping. He's driving on the wrong side of the road. No, Imran, you on the wrong side of the road. When it was so easy to have an agreement for everybody to drive on one side of the road. But no, in Britain you drive on one side of the road, and just across the channel in France you drive on the other side of the road. It doesn't make sense. It's dangerous. Instead of one pair of footprints, you have two. Shall I continue? Over here from KL to Johor, so many kilometers. Huh? All over the world, so many kilometers. Distance. No, said the United States. We have so many miles. The speedometer says so many kilometers an hour. But in the United States, no, so many miles an hour. It doesn't make sense. It is incredibly foolish. Instead of having one standardized, uniform system, your global world order, you have two foolish systems, two footprints instead of one. Shall I continue? You have so many, you want to buy rambutan, you buy so many kilograms. But not in the United States. They have pounds. You stop to buy gas, you buy so many liters. Not in the United States, you buy so many gallons. instead of one pair of footprints, you have two. So this is how you can recognize Gog and Magog by their footprints. I think I said enough. Yeah.
I think we have got one last question from
One more.
Yeah, our sisters.
Yeah, go ahead.
Assalamualaikum, Sheikh. My name is Alina Abdullah. My question will be for Sheikh. What is your view on Brits establishment from the Islamic eschatology perspective? Thank you. What is your view on Brits establishment from the Islamic eschatology perspective?
From
Brits
the Episcopological,
establishment.
the BRICS establishment.
What is my view about bricks?
Establishment from the Islamic eschatology perspective.
The monetary system which came out of the modern Western civilization was bogus, was fraudulent, was a system of exploitation, of impoverishment, and eventual enslavement. And it was built on the International Monetary Fund. It is so sad that only one leader in the world of Islam recognized that. The rest is not even Dr. Mahathir. And it was, of course, Ahmad Sukarno. Ahmad Sukarno. Malaysia has forgotten Ahmad Sukarno, and Indonesia is forgetting Ahmad Sukarno. But Ahmad Sukarno recognized that the International Monetary Fund was a system of oppression, and he took Indonesia out of the IMF. And then they overthrew him, and Indonesia returned to the IMF. The IMF has continued uninterruptedly in impoverishing mankind. The IMF, supported by the banking system around the world, as a consequence of which we now have an inundation of refugees, economic refugees, as never before seen in mankind, leaving all the rest of the world and going to the green pastures where all the money is now concentrated. And Trump wants to send them back and build a wall to keep them out. What to do about it? It took China and Russia to come together to build an alliance, and then supported by India, intelligently so, and supported by South Africa and Brazil to establish a rival system. BRICS is a rival system to the IMF. And BRICS is succeeding because the non-European part of mankind are all now coming to enter BRICS. But BRICS still has a long way to go in order to restore a monetary system based on money with integrity. But at least they're making an effort to try to